MrBeast might become one of the biggest problems for YouTube with all of this controversy and drama that he's been in, all of these very, very bad allegations thrown towards him, might make a bigger problem for the platform as a whole because he is the biggest YouTuber. He is the name when you think of YouTube. You think of MrBeast, and he is not having such great things alleged about him recently. Sure, everybody knows what's happened with him, all of the things that have gone on, and it's not even done yet because Dogpack 404 says he has another part coming out to expose more things and go into more things. So it's still just getting started and not even near being done. But he could become a massive problem for everyone else on the platform because he might cause an adpocalypse. If you don't know what that is, basically when advertisers pull their money from YouTube or pull their ads from YouTube, which is the same thing, and make it so that you no longer make as much money posting to YouTube. YouTube as a company no longer makes as much money because the advertisers aren't spending. And it's all around a very, very negative thing for everybody involved. And these adpocalypses, you can see here, there has been a total of 4 that have been documented here, and none of them have been fun, right? So if we look at here, the first one here was in February 2017. PewDiePie, who was then the biggest YouTuber, came under fire for posting videos that YouTube deemed anti-Semitic and hate speech. He had a whole thing with videos that he did, people, going after him, and because he was the biggest YouTuber, advertisers pulled their ads. They pulled the money. They didn't want to be associated with YouTube because this had such a negative connotation with it. And at that time, PewDiePie is nothing compared to what MrBeast is today, right? So even then, with the biggest YouTuber on the platform, which was nowhere near the size of MrBeast or had that image, right? PewDiePie was still the internet. It was still YouTube, and people were like, no, that's whatever, right? This is even worse. MrBeast situation is way worse than back then because even though people might say, oh, YouTubers are dumb and those guys, God, you don't want to do business with them, people might have that perception, but they all put MrBeast in his own category, right? They said, but this guy, squeaky clean, this guy's got the best record, he's got the great sentiment, and it's perfectly okay to do anything and attach yourself to his brand. It's safe. And then it turns out that even that guy, who everyone thought was the safety pin and thought was the safest person you could be involved with, turns out that it wasn't that. So it just makes it worse for everybody else. So this one is the most like what's happening now. But the second one here is there was a lot of stuff going on. There was stuff with, I don't even know this, like Toy Freaks. Children's content was a big deal. But this is what I really remember in this time was when Logan Paul, was reacting to his famous or infamous vlog in the suicide forest. That whole thing happened. And this one was when I was involved because I was doing YouTube for a little bit here and there, putting some videos out there. And I was making some money, not a lot of money on YouTube, but then they introduced this 1,000 subscriber, 4,000 watch hours that you needed, and I was nowhere near that. So Logan Paul basically shut down any chance of small creators making money. They put a barrier to entry there. So this was one of the results of this adpocalypse to try and stop things from happening because advertisers were saying we don't want our ads put on certain videos, right? Because a channel with no subs could post something crazy and you could have an ad play before that video and who knows. I don't know why advertisers care so much about that. I think it's maybe like a subliminal thing, but I don't really get it. But they said they didn't want to do that, so YouTube put something in measure. The third one here was something crazy. One guy was going after like a small group of problematic, I think, commenters, and he ended up sparking this and having it snowball into an adpocalypse. Big problem. So when you look at these adpocalypse and you look at what happened, this one was Steven Crowder stuff, but we haven't had one in a long time, and that's a good thing. Nobody wants these adpocalypse. Nobody wants to deal with them. They are terrible for everyone. They're terrible for YouTubers. They're terrible for YouTube, the platform. They're terrible for viewers because YouTubers stop putting out videos or get less incentivized to put out videos, or the only videos they're going to put out is complaining that they don't have any money making off them, right? So, there's that thing, and it always seems to come with some sort of new rule set introduced to try and appease advertisers and say, we've done this to try and mitigate this stuff. But we've seen adpocalypses start from things that are smaller than MrBeast, right? We've seen them happen from someone snowballing something that was a very, very small amount of people into advertisers pulling out. And we've seen PewDiePie, who was the largest at the time, as snowball into an apocalypse as well. But this one, if it happens, would be massively different because it would be MrBeast, the largest creator in the world, the person who is supposed to be the squeaky clean image, the perfect person to partner your brand with, to be connected with no shot to backfire on you, and it's all crumbling down. So people or advertisers are going to look at that and say, well, if I couldn't trust MrBeast, who is supposed to be the squeakiest clean YouTuber that you could ever imagine, how am I ever going to trust any other YouTuber on this platform? And that could make stroke some fear, right? And then that would be what leads to an apocalypse. Hopefully it doesn't happen. Hopefully there's no apocalypse and this can all be dealt with however it needs to be dealt with. But there is a possibility that MrBeast becomes too big of a problem for YouTube. And right now, MrBeast makes YouTube a lot of money. So maybe they're a little favorable and they say, we'll hide some of this stuff. We'll help your channel in this way, or at least not punish you, because right now he is the golden boy of YouTube, right? The Paul brothers used to have that. They used to get pretty special treatment back in the day when they were doing their crazy things. People were saying, why doesn't YouTube shut this down or demonetize them or do whatever? They're making too much money for the site. So, they had special treatment until they didn't. MrBeast might be on that same path. He might be, the golden boy now, but that only lasts so long. And at some point, when things start crumbling down, you lose that title and, things can go very south from there. But hopefully that doesn't happen and it doesn't go to this, and the community and MrBeast can work it out and, decide whether or not you're going to continue to support him and watch him and do whatever, or if he even responds to it, because there's a chance that he just never responds to this, tries to plug his ears and keep moving on along with his day and deleting comments like he's been doing and just kind of pretending things aren't happening. That's something that I think is probably the most likely outcome that happens. That's it for this video. As always, don't forget to smash the button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.